conflicts between husband and wife, and what is the solution in light of teaching of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the situation will totally change, inshallah. I'm going back to Islam, inshallah, this one day. But in this age, we can invite young people on Zoom, and these sessions we can do with the young people. That's why I requested if your phone number is all with us. So whenever we are going to deliver any course like this one, so we can invite you, so any one of you can join. So very easily you can join on Zoom and you can go through this inside. So if you could write down your names and your phone numbers, it will help us to invite you in the future if we have any other plan. So very important thing, very, very important thing is how can we control our desires? How can we? So this was one thing which I said before. Reminding ourselves that we are not people of group of shaitan. We are people of group of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very, very important. So whenever shaitan will try to take us away, then if we divide the humans into three groups regarding accepting, teaching the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and rejecting them, we can divide them into three groups. One group is group of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the second is group of shaitan, the third one is people like us. Sometimes we think that being a part of group of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where prophets and messengers of Allah and pious people will go, in that company we will be able to enter paradise. But unfortunately, if we join group of shaitan, shaitan will go to hell, and along with him, we will have to burn in hellfire. So this is very, very important thing to remind ourselves again and again, that we are not people of group of shaitan, we are people from group of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For this purpose, we go to shuyukh. And they try their best to purify our hearts, fill our hearts with remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to remove this ghaflat, this neglectfulness from our hearts. But this moment, I'm not inviting you to go to any share. This time, I'm trying to give you something which on your own, if you try, so you can get some control on your evil desires. Our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, addressing the young people, he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that anyone who has the means of nikah, he should marry. But if you can't, then the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ, he should keep fast. Fasting, keeping yourself hungry and thirsty. This is very, very helpful for having control on our evil desires. But before this, as you can see on the screen. If we want to keep ourselves safe from following our desires, some precautions are: number one is not even going near to anything which may lead to a sin. For example, if you are having a talk with any girl, so if you keep yourself away from it, you don't try to ring, and if any such stranger who is not your mother, he is not your mother, he is not your sister, if she rings you, you don't have the habit of having a talk with her, so you will be saved. But if you will try to take his call, her call, and then you will be talking to her, and it will lead you to that point where you may commit a sin. In one teaching of the Holy Prophet the Holy Prophet by giving one example, he said that in old ages, the king, they had pasture where only animals of a king could graze. Other people were not allowed to take the animals there. So the Holy Prophet by giving one example, he said that if any shepherd takes his goats and sheep away from that boundary, so if any sheep, any goat will try to go to that pasture, so before it enters, the shepherd will be able to hold it. But if he is very close, so his goats and sheep may enter the pasture, and then he will be punished. Anything which can lead you to any sin, the first precaution is try to keep yourself away from it. The second is company of bad people. Our Lord Prophet said in Hadith, Al-Mar'u ala dini khalilihi fal-yanzur liman yukhalil. A person is on religion of his friend, and every person should try to investigate with whom he is sitting and with whom he is having friendship. The third thing is taking an account of yourself on daily basis. When you go to sleep at night, try to think about all of the activities of the whole day. How many times you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands, and how many times you obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. When you will try to take an account of yourself, there will be a motivation in your heart. And your heart will be thinking that a lot of sins I'm committing, and a lot of times I'm disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. And on the day of judgment, when I'll be standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what answer will be with me if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks why? The most dangerous thing in desire is sexual desire. And in Hadith, the Holy Prophet said that I haven't left behind me any trial bigger than a woman for men of my own. So this is very, very important. Very important it is. Sitting in private, for those male and female who are not mahram for each other, sitting in private is haram. Talking with any stranger woman is haram. So when you will try to keep yourself away from these things, you will be saved from mischief of shaitan. One point is how can we differentiate between good and bad desires? One thing should be very clear in your mind that all of the desires are good. Nothing is bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created these desires in our heart for a purpose. Nothing is bad. As long as we are fulfilling our desires in accordance with teachings of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are good. But when our desire will try to cross the limit, it will become bad. So this is how to differentiate between good and bad. The things which play a very big role in controlling your desires. Shall I stop? In my class, I never allow any student to laugh, look here and there. Mentally, I'm disturbed when I look at the students. If anyone is not listening to me, attentively, I can't carry on my lecture. So, very humble request is from you. Listen to me very carefully. If you have to do something else, you can go out, you can sit there, and you can do whatever you want to do. Or as long as you are sitting in front of you, be careful. The things which play a very big role. Number one, eating halal. Haram food creates darkness. Number two is eating less. Whenever you eat and you want to eat more, 2-3 morsels more you want to eat, stop eating. And believe me, this is a very big practice to control your desires. A very tasty food is in front of you. You are eating from it. You want to eat more, and you stop. I'm sacrificing my desire for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you will get the ability to control your desires. The month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran that fasting is made obligatory for the Muslims so that they get ability to abstain from committing sins. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. We keep fast for the full month, but there is no difference. There is no difference in the state of our heart when we started and when we finish. The same is. And you know why? From the morning till evening, we control ourselves. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't eat, we don't drink anything. We get an ability to control our desires. And at the time of iftar, very tasty food is there, and we start eating, and whatever ability during the daytime we got, we lose it. If at the time of iftar, when you are eating something and you need to eat 2-3 morsels more, stop eating. So your ability to control your desire will improve day by day. And Sufis especially, they say that hunger is a treasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah gave this treasure to only those people who are His beloveds. The third thing which plays a very big role, this is grief. When you are sad, you will agree that if any one of the close relatives dies, you don't do that tamashi which you do in ordinary life. You don't watch anything. It means when you are in state of grief, you are grieved, it controls your desires. Whenever you are suffering from any problem, any sickness, try to take benefit from it. Return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again, make supplications, make du'as, try to make relationship of your heart again and again, try to improve it, try to make it stronger and stronger. And this state of grief you can bring in your heart by yourselves. It's not by cutting your body. Yeah? It's not by eating something with which you become sick. It's not. And according to Islamic teaching, it is not allowed. You are not allowed to harm your body. You are not allowed to make yourselves sick by doing some silly things. This state of grief you can have. The beloved Prophet ﷺ said, "Aksiru zikra hazim al-lazat." That thing which crushes your desires, remember it again and again, again and again. And what is that? The beloved Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-Maut," the death. So when we remember about the death, when we remember about grave, when we remember about the next stages of our life, it becomes easy for us to control our desires. Marriage is one way of controlling our desires. And finally, love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam plays a very big role in controlling our desires. A true lover always is fearful that my beloved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become angry. Now the question is, what can we do to fill our hearts with love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and love of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? At the top of the list is following Sunnah of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When you enter the masjid, put the right foot first. When you go out, put the left foot first. When you enter the toilet, the left foot first, and when you come out, the right one first. Those du'as which the Holy Prophet ﷺ read, make it your habit that 24 hours following Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ at a single step of your life. When you start eating, wash your hands, read Bismillah, and make an intention, I'm doing this because my beloved Prophet ﷺ used to do that. When you lie in your bed, read some dua which our beloved Prophet ﷺ used to read. Lie down on your right side, because my beloved Prophet ﷺ used to do that. The easiest way to fill your heart with true love of the Holy Prophet ﷺ is this: following Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and reading supplications which our beloved Prophet ﷺ used to read. We think these Nafil-e-Naat, Nafil-e-Milad, obviously these are when we are sitting in any gathering where the beloved Prophet ﷺ's excellence, his greatness is being discussed. Obviously, this remembrance of the Holy Prophet ﷺ creates love of the Holy Prophet ﷺ in our hearts. But this love will become true when in ordinary life you are following Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ at every single step. But if the whole night raising your hands and you are saying Qurban hai, and at the time of Fajr Salah you don't read Fajr Namaz, I fear that raising your hand was not for love of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, maybe it was for something else. You were amazed by that professional person who was reading something. So if true love of the Holy Prophet ﷺ is in our hearts, then there is no way to go against teaching of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Another thing which plays a very big role is sitting in company of nice people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you sit with them, they are always discussing, and according to my own experience, One is to sit with a pious person and he says some words of nasiha, and these words have an effect on your heart. Only having aqidat, respect for a pious person of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you sit with him, he says nothing, you say nothing, only sitting in company of a pious person of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it gives you a heart. It fills your heart with love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and love of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So another thing which you can practice for this purpose is be respectful to Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How? Listen it very carefully. Any person and anything which is recognized because of relationship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, be respectful to them. Be respectful to it. You are having Quran Pak in your hand. When you are reciting the Holy Quran at that time, sit in a very, very respectful manner, feeling that as you are in presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are reading Hadith book, at that time, don't sit in ordinary way. Try to sit as you are sitting in presence of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you mention any Qari Sahib, nowadays in our society, Fulana Qari diya kar le, Fulana Maulvi diya kar le, Fulana Peer kar raha. This is our way of talking. Don't try to do it. They are humans like us. They make mistakes. But they are recognized because of their relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Try to respect that relation. Whenever you mention name of any Qari, don't say Fulana Qari, say Qari Sahib. Try to say Peer Sahib. Try to say Imam Sahib. That person is a good one or bad one. Inshallah, after some days you will feel sereneness of Iman in your heart. You are showing respect. You are not showing respect to a person. You are showing respect to that relation which this person has with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next point is making intention of prayer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before doing anything. As I mentioned before, Islam is not only some ways of worship. Every single aspect of your life is discussed in Islam. When you are going out for earning money, you should stop for a while. Why? The answer should come out of your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Al-Qasibu Habibullah, a person who earns money by halal means he is a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm out to earn halal money to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with me. When you are buying some food for your children, when you are buying clothes for your children, stop for a while and ask yourself why. The answer should come out from your heart that these kids are a trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with me, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the duty to provide everything to them. So I am providing these things to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with me. When you are sitting with your wife, be kind to her. Good treatment to her. My beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, be kind to your wives. So I'm showing this kindness to my wife to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with me. Don't try to do anything for any person, and don't try to do anything for any worldly benefit. Whatever, whenever you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With this practice, your heart will be filled with remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will never, never forget Him. Next point is concentration in Salah. Salah, namaz, the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Innal musalli yunaji rabbahu. This hadith is in Bukhari Sharif. A person, when standing for salah, he is having a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is a hadith in Sahih Muslim in which the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives some detail of it. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in that hadith, when a person says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, all praise for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Lord of the universe, a response comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can hear it with hearts of your soul, hearts of your ruh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the answer comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, response comes from Him. And the response is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Hamidani abdi. My slave has praised me. When you say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most gracious, the most merciful, a response comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that my slave, my servant has praised me. When you say Maliki Yawmiddin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Majjadani abdi, my person has glorified me, or he has declared my greatness. Then a person says, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to that person, this is between me and between my slave. And whatever my servant will ask, I will give him. Then you say, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. And then, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. So, at the end, response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, my servant has asked me and I have granted him. So this is a conversation between a person and between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can read salah with full concentration, when you are standing, raising your hands, at that time, try to think, I have raised my hands from everything over this world and I'm standing where? In front of Lord of the universe. Now you are speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah wa bihamdih. Then you bow down, and at that time your heart must be filled with feeling, I have bowed down in front of my Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you prostrate at that time, putting your forehead on the ground, you are saying Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Glorified is my Lord, who is the most high. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes very much pleased and says to his servant, now you have been able to sit in my company for some time. And when in the tahiyyat we sit down, we are not sitting with any minister, we are not sitting with any prime minister, any official. We are sitting in company of Lord of the universe. So this will, usually when I come on this point, I say to the people, those who are given the ability to read Salah 5 times a day, placing hand on your chest, you should say, look at me. I am that fortunate person whom Lord of the universe gives the chance to sit in his company 5 times a day. So I not something ordinary. This is a very big gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very, very big gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unfortunately, we are taking it as a burden. And the last thing on which I am trying to conclude is practicing the amount of Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. And this is a very powerful wazifa. If you can practice it throughout your life, whenever you are suffering from any problem, inshallah, because of this wazifa, your problems will be solved and you will never forget tenderness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are commanded by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever you need help, seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what have you do? After Fajr Namaz, 7 times Surah Fatiha. during the daytime, at night, whenever you are thinking about any desire you want to get it fulfilled, or you are worried about any problem in your life, you will call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. Again and again, whenever your mind is disturbed, you will call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Whenever you want to get any desire fulfilled, which is lawful, you will call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Your problems will be solved, your desires will be fulfilled, and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again in your life, your heart will be filled with remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will never forget essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your life. And at the end, let me give you one muraqabah. This is a certain way of doing zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. So firstly, let me explain muraqabah. If there is time, then this a certain way of doing zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with which we can fill our hearts with remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll try to explain. If there is no time, then whatever you are doing, do it every day, once, in the morning or in the evening. You will try to give 3 messages to yourself. The first message is, whatever I do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. 2-3 times you will tell yourself, whatever I do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. Then try to remember what you did. I was doing this and Allah was watching me. I was doing this and Allah was watching me. I was doing this and Allah was watching me. Then move on to the second message. Whatever I say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to me. Then you will try to think what words are coming out of your tongue. Then the third message, whatever I can for my life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all aware of it. And you will end this muraqabah by saying, I'm not free, I am a slave. Slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm not in this world to live as I wish. I'm in this world to live as my master, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wants me to. Practice it. I don't say for months, I don't say for years. Practice it for some days. And inshallah, you will feel that whenever there will be any desire which is unlawful, whenever there is any desire which makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displeased with you, a very strong sound will come out of your heart. No, I'm not going to do it. My Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be displeased with me. So, the path to salvation, all of the discussion, some of the people they came late, and for them, let me give you only a brief review of this course. The first thing which we discussed is, everyone wants to become a successful person, and to be a successful person, there is only one way, and that is living in this world according to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So next point was, how can we know what is will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So for this one criteria is teaching the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we need two things. One is knowledge, and the second one is passion, a jazba, which forces us to, which motivates us to practice whatever we know about religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these passions, how can we have, for this purpose, very effective thing is being in company of wise people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the next point was, when we have become to know that living in this world according to will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the way to attain success, why can't we? So, Shaitan tries to misguide us, and Shaitan's weapon is our desires. If we want to get rid of mischief of Shaitan, we have to manage, control on our desires in any way. And what can we do to have a control on our desires? Different things we discussed. And at the top of the list is having feelings of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our thoughts. And for having these feelings of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our hearts, we can practice different things. And one muraqabah, very easy thing which I have tried to say at the end, try to give these three messages every day to yourselves, and inshallah, within days, our hearts will be filled with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will never forget Him. With this dua, let me finish. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be part of such gathering in which there is some discussion about our relation with our Creator, about our relationship with our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is some discussion about leading a successful life in which there is success of this world and the next stage of our life. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Do you have any questions? Okay, this one. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Jazakallah, very, very thought-provoking and informative workshop by Qibla Shah Sahib. Just a few questions that some of the brothers have asked. I'll narrate the question and then Shah Sahib will answer it. Would you say a poor person who didn't grow up with money views the religion differently than someone who has a comfortable life?
Religion is different. Whatever you spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is of two types. One is we have to, in other words, we can say it is wajib upon us. Like zakat is, like sadaqah fitr, if we make a vow, expiation of not fasting. So wajibi sadaqat, we are not allowed to give to the poor people who belong to any other religion. But as for normal sadaqats, some people want to give something. So these sadaqat we can give to the poor people of other religions as well. And I think that with these sadaqat we should try and help these people who, even they are non-Muslims, and if anyone is homeless or if anyone is poor person, should try and help them. For as for zakat and wajibi sadaqat, from them we are not allowed to give them. The mu'allafatul qulub, that is something different. some of the non-believers. And the main purpose of giving this money was these leaders, maybe they accept Islam. If they don't accept Islam, even they will not do something against Islam. So it's really for the benefit of Muslims and the benefit of Islam, the Holy Prophet ﷺ gave so much to those people. Now, when Islam has got power, and Muslims, they don't need to give zakat money to such people to save themselves from their mischief. So majority of Muslim fuqaha, they say that this category in recipient of zakat, no, it is abrogated. You will not give money. Or if any person who accepts Islam, he was a non-Muslim, he accepted Islam and he is a poor person, so we should try to help him as much as we can.
Another question, I think this has already been answered in the discussion. A simple simplification we can recite in times of difficulty or to protect us from shaitan's tricks that within the muraqabah that Shah has stated. A very, very important question. I think a lot of us have this question. In spite of being Muslim, people are still sometimes victims to depression, or they're still not happy, or they don't have peace of mind in spite of being as good Muslims as they can be. So how can these people reprogram their mind into counting their blessings in times of hardship rather than focusing on negativity?
Bismillah. For taking you out from depression, from anxiety. In teachings of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, three different things, according to my information, maybe more, but according to my knowledge, at least we have three. Number one, any person who is suffering from any problem, maybe physical ailment, maybe any problem in his life, there is a hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ in which they said that whenever any Muslim suffers from a problem, whether it is mental or physical, sins of that Muslim are forgiven and his rank in Jannah becomes higher than before because of his suffering. The condition is if this person remains patient for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when any person is sick and feeling a lot of pain, if he tries to think on the other way, because of this pain my sins are being forgiven, because of this pain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making my rank in Jannah higher than before. So when this person will start thinking about the other, the reward of this thing, this feeling of depression will go away. Let me make it easy for you. A woman, a pious woman, her husband was also a very pious person. Once a heavy stone fell on her foot, and her foot started bleeding. And obviously when it was hurt, a hurt person feels pain. So rather than crying, she started smiling. So when her husband looked at her, he said, "Are you mad?" She said, "Why?" When people receive any hurt like this one, they cry and you are smiling. She said, the difference between me and between the other people is, other people see that how big injury is, how big pain is. But I'm looking, because of this hurt, how much reward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted to me. This is one thing. The second thing is remembering the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for this purpose, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave one instruction, and this instruction is whenever you look for these worldly luxuries and worldly things, look at a person who is inferior to you. यानी जब भी आप देखें दुनियावी एतबार से उस बंदे को देखें जिसके पास आपसे कम नेमत है. आपके पास गाड़ी अच्छी नहीं, आप उसको देखें जिसकी गाड़ी आपसे भी गई गुजरी। आप अगर बीमार हैं तो look at those people who are in the hospital, they can't move. So when you will look at them, you will feel that even I am sick, but Alhamdulillah, I can move, I can see, I can hear. So your attention will be moved from sickness to blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the second thing which the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam instructed. And the third thing is our belief in taqdeer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Belief in taqdeer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, destiny. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything and we should say, oh, bas Allah ta'ala di marzi hai si. No. Do whatever you can do to solve your problems. Do whatever you can do to remove any ailment from your body. But if all of your efforts are fruitless, then don't be depressed. Say, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's marzi, Allah Pak's raza is in this, so I'm happy with it. So these are three different things which our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given. So if you will try any one of them, inshallah, you will feel that coming out of this feeling of anxiety and depression, it will help a lot. And sometimes this is a physical ailment. So in such cases, only wazaif or only thinking, I don't think that it will bring you out of this situation. You will need some medication with it as well.
Jazakallah. That was very, very thought-provoking. Alhamdulillah, thank you for answering the questions. We will now azan, and then inshallah after azan there is the barak that is present for all of you. So if you, whenever you leave, can we just get the barak and leave? Jazakallah.